Hangul, which I don't know if we said this already, but Hangul is the Korean alphabet.
Yeah.
I don't know if we said this, but let's just repeat it, just in case.
Hi, this is Jay.
And this is Kay, and we talk.
So, before watching this video, disclaimer, we all agree that romanization is bad.
It is the devil, yes.
Yeah, but the purpose of this video is showing you why it's actually that bad.
Because a lot of people advocate for it, we would like to advocate against it. From day one, there will be no romanization on this channel, ever, I think.
No, that's a choice.
Yeah, it's not casual. Like, if we ever romanize something, we will not romanize it, we will IPA-ize it, which is write it in the International Phonetic Alphabet, so better start learning that if you want to keep up with us. No, JK. Ha, JK.
I mean, apart from humor, there are a number of reasons why romanization can be detrimental to your learning, starting from the fact that your brain will actually associate a word written in romanization with an English word rather than a Korean word.
Yeah, for example, if you see, especially if you can only speak English, or if you can only speak one language, or if you only know the Latin alphabet in general, your brain, seeing the Latin alphabet, will immediately associate it with the sounds and like the phonetics of that language. For example, the sound O is romanized as the letter U, but if you speak English, you will see that letter and go, oh yeah, that's a U. While in reality, it may be a sound like O, for example.
Right. Also, there are different varieties of romanization that is not a standardized romanization. I mean, I think there is, but there are multiple versions that are widespread on the internet, so I advise you not to use it at all because you may not be able to distinguish clearly one from the other and learn reading rules that are simply imprecise, I would say.
Yes, and also I'm not sure that even official communications or official announcements have one standard set of romanization.
I'm not sure either, but I don't think so.
Because even like, this is a dumb example, but even like K-pop idol names, if you see them romanized, often they are written with different sounds or with different systems.
Well, yeah, like the name Jun, which is a very common syllable in Korean names. Sometimes you maybe find it spelled with two O's or with a short U sound, which is a U. It depends from person to person. There's not a rule.
Yeah, and if you learn one system of romanization over the other, you might read it as John or as Jong. So
yeah.
It doesn't really make sense to use romanization. Also, I feel like Hangul is so easy, why would you use romanization? Like, it's easier to learn how to read Hangul than how to read romanization.
If you use romanization, you will have to learn a few rules, because otherwise you will not be able to figure out exactly how to read it at first sight. But since you're already making an effort, why not learning Hangul like Kim was saying?
Yeah, exactly. Like, if you're going to put effort into something, put effort in something that is meaningful. Also because resources, for example, there are no intermediate books or resources of any kind that use romanization. Like, past a certain point, you will not find anything romanized for you.
That is true. In addition, we have to consider that once you want to start using Korean with a native speaker, your pronunciation has to be really accurate, otherwise a lot of misunderstandings will occur since Korean is a very contextual language.
Yep.
Your pronunciation needs to be on point. It's not it's not an overstatement.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and also like if you use romanization, you will for sure not be able to pronounce all of the sounds of Korean, because Korean has sounds that English doesn't have, and vice versa. For example, the letter which is, it's just a sound, it's a vowel in Korean. English does not have a way to represent that. It is often romanized as EU, but that's not the sound. Like, I feel like if an English speaker read EU in a word, they wouldn't read, let's say, g, they would read like gil.
Yeah.
And that sounds more like Thai than Korean.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Yeah, but speaking Korean and not Thai. As Kim was saying, there are a series of sounds that are almost impossible to be represented using this writing system, if you want to call it so. There are a number of sounds that you just cannot master. For example, the sound ui. Which also, whose pronunciation varies a lot from context as well, because sometimes you may find it as a or e depending on the position
or
of the...
at times,
Yeah. So you need Hangul to understand how to pronounce its syllable accurately, depending also on the context.
Yeah, and also we will make more videos about this, but Romanization, we've talked about vowels until now, but even consonants, it's not precise. Like the letter C, even when you write CH, that's not T. Like they are two different sounds. It's approximated to be
but it's
C,
not
but it's not.
T.
It's not precise.
Interesting fact. Hangul was actually conceived, and that is also why it's easier than you think. Hangul was actually conceived to represent the shape of your mouth. Let's consider the most famous letter, Kiok. Kiok is the most widely known.
Yeah, it's the first of the alphabet, so...
Yeah. The shape of the letter is not casual. It represents the position of your mouth and of your tongue. And if someone explains it to you well enough, you will be able to imitate the sound perfectly. Whereas if you write G or K in English, the sound will only be imprecise.
Yes, because it's neither a G or a K.
Exactly.
It's Kiok, it's another letter.
So the last point of why Hangul is fundamental for your Korean studies is definitely vocabulary.
I think there are two key points in this. One being grammar and the other one being vocabulary itself. Let's start with grammar, I don't know, I think it's easier. Korean is built in syllable blocks, like each word is built by syllables, which are written as blocks in Hangul. If you write the word in Romanization, you will lose that structure and you will not be able to apply grammar rules. For example, if you have the verb 춥다, which means to be cold, when you have to conjugate it, it becomes 추워요. But if you don't know that piep is at the end of a syllable as opposed to, in the next one, you will not be able to understand why the verb changes the way that it does. Like, it's not possible to learn Korean grammar without Hangul, like just by learning Romanization.
No, it's impossible because you need to define when and where a syllable starts and ends. Because Korean is an agglutinative language, so Korean is an agglutinative language, so it's really important to know the limits of each syllable in order to attach endings appropriately.
And also, like, there are some words that change depending on the ending or the particle you attach to them. For example, 저는 and 제가, they both mean I. The word is the same, like you can tell that the root of the word is the same, but it changes because you are attaching a particle. So if you only read the Romanization, and you were to pronounce it that way, you would never know why they mean the same thing or similar things. And also about seeing the presence of something in words, hanja, because you have to know that Korean takes a lot of vocabulary roots from Chinese.
So basically, Chinese characters are written so that they can fit in a square. And the same happened to Korean when Hangul was invented, because they wanted to keep the same aesthetic pattern. And so the fact that syllables fit into these squares lets us understand very clearly what syllable substitutes what character. So, are you convinced? Are you going to use Romanization or finally convert to Hangul?
I think we will convert to Hangul, like with drag Romanization.
Hopefully. What are your thoughts on Romanization? Let us know in the comment section down below.
Also, don't forget to like, subscribe and ring the notification bell.
This has been Jay.
And Kay. And we will talk to you soon.